ask you some questions too, but they're just going to be very open-ended that I just want you to sit and think on them. So we can use pain and pleasure to change our lives, to completely shift our lives. And if you know Tony Robbins, he's a great motivational speaker. This whole, episode is inspired by him because he's the one that taught me this, personally. I know I'm kidding, but he did open me up to this concept, and it's like I feel like low-key I knew about it, but it's like I didn't really know how to use it to shape my life and transform my reality. And so I'm going to be giving you ways to do that. This isn't like a step-by-step thing. This is just really diving into pain and pleasure and how our behavior is motivated from this. It is either motivated from running away from pain, which is very, very motivating, behavior or motivation, or it is chasing pleasure. We are doing two things constantly. You're going to get food. You're either chasing pleasure and running away from pain of hunger. You are, on your phone scrolling. Dopamine, pleasure. Our whole lives are controlled by this pleasure and this running away from pain. Every commercial, everything is, oh, you don't want to feel like this anymore. Let's get you this. You're missing out on this because everything is completely trying to take control of your pain and pleasure centers. So, Tony Robbins' example was when he was younger, his dad was an alcoholic, and he would watch his dad as a kid. He would watch his dad drink beer after beer and get sick and act out in this negative behavior. And Tony Robbins has the worst association to beer. I think it's specifically beer. I don't know if it's alcohol in general, but he would think as a child, why would anyone do this? Why would anyone drink beer/alcohol? Because he grew up seeing the pain that it caused, and therefore, as he got older, I don't even think he's ever taken one sip of beer in his life. I've learned that story forever ago when I learned about this concept, and I don't know, I think it's beer specifically because that's what his dad drank, and his dad would get sick too, and I'm pretty sure maybe oh gosh, I think I'm getting it confused. So it's either that, and I'm pretty sure it's that, but he also got really sick from beer one time, or alcohol, I don't know, and he threw up and everything, and it caused him so much pain that he never drank after that. He never drank, a certain liquor, etc. This could be relatable to you. You get sick from something, you don't like it. You get sick from a food, you don't like it. So, we have a dominating force of pain that moves us into states of wanting pleasure. I used to be addicted, here's my story, to where I really experienced this. I used to be addicted to joling. So, if you know what a joel is, that's I don't know if it's still, I think it's banned and everything. I know some people still have it, but I used to be very addicted to vaping for a couple years, actually. I was so addicted, it was bad. I would get sick from it. I would get nicotine overdose. I don't think it's overdose, but the nicotine sickness, and multiple times I got so sick that I, let it out, and it was just so bad. I remember, I would get sick and be like, oh, I'm never joling again. Then the next day, I just started joling. Clearly, the pain wasn't that bad, because the pleasure outweighed it. The pleasure of it outweighed that pain. But then, one day, at a music festival, Lost Lands, where I met my boyfriend, I remember on that Saturday, I was joling, and at the festival, you're hot, you're hungry, you're this, you're that. Joling I just remember getting so sick to the point where I was like shaking, and I threw my Joel, and I lost it, and I did not Joel after that. I actually did, I went to CCAZ, and I like fiend a little bit off of other people because that partial addiction was still there, but I could go home and not Joel, and I kind of cut it off fully cold turkey. I guess not exactly, because I would go to school, but mostly just done. Compared to how much I did before this, I was always Joeling, and then the pain of that sickness, that anxiety, made me stop. So we all have our addictions in life, whether that be food, whether that be our phone, social media, scrolling, laying in bed, waking up late, this, that, our things that we don't want in life is because we are chasing that pleasure, or we are running away from pain. Procrastination, running away from pain, scrolling on your phone, finding that pleasure, this behavior, that behavior, everything in life is motivated from chasing pain, or not chasing pain. I don't know, some people might. That's, adrenaline seekers. That's pleasure to them though. But anyway, so we're either chasing pleasure or running away from pain. Now, as a spiritual person, I'm gonna read this real quick because this is a factor in it. We feel as if we can't express negativity. Sometimes we feel like we have to be this positive person, afraid to speak and affirm low vibes, afraid to talk about our negativity, afraid to bring it into reality, to manifest these negative thoughts, these fears, etc., these pains. Sometimes we resist speaking negative things if you believe that it can manifest right away. And we always try to be, I don't know if this resonates if you're spiritual or not, but to spiritual people, we always try to be this high vibe, this and that, and feel like we have to be this happiness, or else we're going to attract negative situations. But I believe that we can use our pain as a motivation to transform our lows, to transform our lives, and really bring us into pleasurable states using our pain. I think our darkness is a gift. I think our pain is a beautiful gift. They always say, the closer you get to light, the bigger the shadow gets. The closer you get to the good, sometimes it can get really bad. That duality, that pain. And when you move towards light, the pain, it gets bigger. The shadow gets bigger. And in my perspective of that, number one, that's just like it seems like right when you're about to break through, this negativity kind of feels like it's growing. But what it's really doing is being transmuted. You're heading towards this light, towards this pleasure. Your shadow self comes up and up. But I think instead of giving up, sometimes when we're about to succeed or attract success or attract someone or manifest someone, it seems we get very discouraged. We're gonna manifest money, we're gonna get this goal, etc. You want this, you want that. It seems as if the darkness starts growing, when you move towards the light, the shadow behind you gets bigger. But in my perspective, that is only because you're moving away from pain and into pleasure. And you can use that darkness to really push past the breakthrough so that you can finally see your manifestation and what you desire and the light. Too many times when the shadow gets big in the darkness, I know I'm kind of like going in a little spiral, but the darkness gets big, we kind of feel like, oh, I'm gonna give up. I'm done. I'm not going to get what I want. This is horrible. I give up, and we give up right before the breakthrough. This whole analogy was because what I want you to start doing is when you feel that pain, when you feel that resistance, that negativity, I want you to use as a even bigger motivator to go back at it and chasing the pleasure in healthy ways. I don't mean, when you start to feel negative emotions, you go to drugs, go to this, go to alcohol to make you happy, I don't mean it in that way. What I mean is, let's say you're dedicated to growth on a YouTube channel, and it feels discouraging, it feels everyone's doing better than me, I'm comparing myself. Let's say you're not accelerating as much as you want to in the gym or at work or in social situations. You start feeling discouraged. Let's say you want to manifest something, a person, that your soulmate. I made an episode on it. A job, a financial income. Let's say you want to manifest that, but it starts to get dark and discouraging. What you really can do, and I am now to the point, is charge up the pain of your past life. Charge up all the reasons why you want your desire. Charge up the pleasure. When you charge up the pain, you charge up the pleasure. When you charge up the pain of what you don't like about yourself. I hate that I'm very lazy. I don't like that my schedule is very inconsistent. This is experience. I don't like that, I want these things, but I'm not taking the action. I am so, miserable with my schedule, and I'm really gonna feel it. I'm gonna feel angry for a moment. I'm gonna feel annoyed at myself for not taking the action. And I'm gonna use that to finally break through that I am ready to create a massive change in my life. Recently, I have been so miserable with my schedule. This was just everything I said. For weeks, my sister moved. A lot of change around me seemed to be happening. My sister moved. My brother went to college. It's just me now in the house. And to me, that's sad. But my emotions kind of spiraled into this laziness. And, I do believe in balance. I believe in releasing these emotions, feeling the pain, crying it out, feeling it. But there comes a point where you have to have a breakthrough. But I was just living on autopilot, doing the same things that I didn't want to be doing, being lazy, scrolling aimlessly on my phone, not taking action in the things I desired. I wanted to start on TikTok. I waited weeks and weeks. I had this vision, and I just was not doing anything that was in alignment with me. My schedule was messed up, and you know what? The pain of that and the frustration of that made me decide this week I am transforming, because now I am going to move into this dedication and this pleasure state and get out of this pain. And you can use the pain and transmute it into a good energy in healthy ways. This week, all week, I woke up at 6 a.m. Oh, I'm filming this, by the way, 2 weeks in advance, so this is, I'm kind of 2 weeks, this happening right now, but the pain got so bad that this week I woke up at 6 a.m., I went to the gym with my mom, and I worked. I took a nap, of course, but I filmed. I got on schedule with the things that I desired. I planned my week, and I stuck to it, because I charged up the pain of, you know what, I want a consistent schedule. I want to feel proud and good about myself and what I do. I want to be proud of my day. And it completely shifted. The light feels like it just shined right in. And right before that happened, the shadow got so big. The frustration of my schedule. The pain of feeling lazy and being hard on myself because of it. Feeling pain that I wasn't growing, I wasn't learning, I wasn't intaking spiritual things. I've been in my room overthinking, drowning in my sorrows, getting so in my head that I created fights and illusions. Not fights within myself though, and illusions. I created this resistance with myself and my true self, and I was just frustrated at myself. ask for a level up, what's going to happen is that pain has to level up to move to the pleasure of leveling up. Now, I don't want you to be scared and believe that something always bad has to happen so that something good can happen, because that is not the truth either. It doesn't always have to go bad before it gets good. That's a belief. But the reason why for me that it went bad before it got good is because I was on autopilot. I was asking for a level up, but I was just like, yeah, I want to level up. 1 second, and I'm like, just looking at my reality as it is and not my vision of what I want it to be. I was excited, and then I turned around scrolling on my phone. I needed change, and the universe, God, source, higher self knew that in order for me to get that level up, I needed to feel what it's like to be frustrated at myself and at my schedule. And my schedule equals success. Your habits equal success. The things that you do, the tiny things, will equate to the quality of your life. So, and it was bad. I was on autopilot. I was reactive. I was overthinking. I was drowning in my thoughts because I just was not aligned with the desires and, the passion that I wanted. And so the universe gave me what I needed. And I want to say that the universe is always giving you what you need. You need to examine it and not resist it. If you do not like the pain that you are experiencing, understand this. 1, it is temporary. 2, it is there for a reason. 3, it is there to help you transform that darkness into light. Our darkness is just as serving, if not more, than our light. So, another example is when I was younger, the biggest thing that I struggled with was self-love. I talk about this in my episode, I think it's like 4 maybe, where I talk about vulnerability and beliefs. And I talk about how I used to be very insecure and, just I did not love who I was. Physically, mentally, I just didn't like myself. But at the time, of course, I didn't notice it, but that was my gift. Because of that, I had to go through the journey of loving myself, and I know how to, transform your life spiritually. Therefore, here I am, wanting to create this ASMR podcast episode in my old channel on spirituality so that I can help people transform their lives. And if I did not have that pain, I would not be doing this. I know it for a fact. If I did not have the pain of, hating myself, feeling insecure, I wouldn't be able to connect with people that feel that way. I wouldn't be able to guide people through this journey. I'm not saying that I guide them and I know everything, but I share my experience in hopes that someone can connect with that and relate to that, and we can get through it together. And I feel so much more confident now than I ever used to be, and I know it was because of the darkness. I worked my way out, getting out of that pain in order to chase the pleasure of what it would be like to love myself. We can constantly transmute this energy, this negative, low pain energy, into something that is very self-serving. But what we have to do is really charge up the pain, charge up the pleasure. Let's say, for example, you don't like your life right now. Okay, you don't like it. You don't like what you do. You don't like where you are. I want you to really feel the pain of it, the limiting factors that you feel. I want you to feel that pain, and you have to feel it so strongly in order for you to actually change. A lot of the times we don't just change when we're on autopilot. We change because we have to change, or at least we think we have to change because we're just so sick of the pain that we are experiencing. Therefore, we have nothing but the choice to move into pleasure. So the people that used to be very insecure and, that struggle with something, you can see there's many testimonies to this, that the people that had nothing are something big because they are motivated by pain and pleasure, and they charge up the pain of something as well as amplifying the pleasure. What is your vision for yourself? What does it look like? What is your dream self doing with your dream person? Where are you living? How much money do you have? What are you going to do with that money? How are you going to spend that money? Are you going to help your family? Are you going to give to people, give to yourself, treat yourself, buy anything? Charge up that energy and detailed vision of what you want and compare it to where you are now and charge up the pain of it. And it's not a victim pain, it's not a I hate myself pain, it's not a I hate my life, therefore I'm over it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about using pain and pleasure to your advantage and really transforming from it and understanding that whatever you go into, I want you to really intentionally decide and realize, am I doing this to chase pleasure or am I doing this to dodge pain? My schedule recently, waking up at 6 a.m., I'm doing it because I love the pleasure, and I charged up a pleasure of being fit and getting all my work done and being ahead of schedule and growing on YouTube, growing on TikTok, putting out the best content I can because I now have time to do so. I used to wake up at 12:01, recently, and the pain of that, of not having enough time in my day, not I'm being behind schedule and not having enough time to hang with my family because I have to work, I have to do this, it's later in the day, I didn't get this done. That pain really took me into a level of, okay, I'm going to commit to what I want out of myself, and that pain is what takes you into pleasurable states. And when you have a vision of your desire, you realize that that is what has to happen, and you change from that. So, how are you using pain and pleasure? I want to ask you a couple questions. So, the whole idea of this pain and pleasure is also known, in my, perspective of it, to release and replace. For example, I want you to charge the pain with energy, charge the pleasure with energy, and reaffirm the opposite. So, I got motivated by this lead in pain and pleasure and everything because also before, earlier this year, I was having anxiety, and I don't know why. But it all stemmed down, I realized why, and it all stemmed down to this need for control. The need to know what's going to happen next. Not being able to go outside of my comfort zone, not being able to, if I don't know what's going to happen next, it causes me anxiety, this uncertainty. And it caused me so much anxiety, I can't even tell you. It was weird. And, I had this idea, do I not trust my future self? And I realized that life would be just so much better if I just let go of this control. Blessings could come in if I surrendered. The universe, higher self, it knows exactly what I want and what to give me and what I need. Why am I in this need of control? And so I wrote down statements like this. I'm so sick of needing to control everything that's going to happen next. I'm so sick of needing to know, of being afraid, of living in fear. I'm so sick of it. I'm ready. So this is the release I am sick of. And I am ready. That is the replace. I am ready to step outside of my comfort zone. I am ready to trust. I am ready to surrender every morning with intention to surrender. You release and you replace. You take the pain and you move to pleasure. What do you hate? What do you want? Charging that with energy to move towards your desire. So, I wrote down, I quit journaling when I was absolutely addicted because the day I got sick, in that moment the pain outweighed the pleasure, which changed the course of my behavior. Sometimes using fear to our advantage of bad habits can transform our behavior. And sometimes we live in autopilot, we just go by the motions, we do our bad habits, we don't think twice about it, we don't think twice of is. But I think it's good to think twice sometimes. Not every time, don't be hard on yourself. But sometimes I think it is good to be hard on yourself so that you can transform a behavior. An addiction. What are you addicted to that's bad? Are you addicted to drinking, smoking? Really charging that behavior with pain. What can it do? What can it cause? What is it causing? And looking at the vision of who you want to be and charging that with pleasure and moving towards that every day. What action steps can you take to get yourself out of this pain and into pleasure? And really examining your life, your motivators. What's causing you this pain? How can I move it into pleasure? My pain can be as self-serving as my light. My darkness can be as serving as my good qualities. Because our darkness is our gift. Our fear is where we thrive. Our fear is the very thing that's going to help others release them from their pain in their lives, to connect, to inspire, to transform others' lives as well, to connect on a deeper level than anyone can understand. Our pain is our gift. In the moment we realize that, the moment we won't give up in discouragement, because we realize the pain. What's the quote? It's in every adversity and every pain outweighs, there's a greater and equal benefit. So, every $1 million you lose, there's $2 million to gain. That might sound crazy, but you might have an experience where something horrible happened, but that story, like I said, my huge self-love journey when I was very insecure, horrible, but now here I am, loving myself than I could ever imagine, helping others, living my dream in order to help others, and doing the best I can with the pain that I once had, and transforming that energy, transmuting it into something beautiful. Use your pain and pleasure, recognize it, charge it up so that you can move into the behavior and the life that you desire. I just talked a lot. I hope you enjoyed that. I did not, my notes, I didn't even do my lead that I talked about. I still hope you really enjoyed this. I think it's really important to have this whole episode because it is very valuable if you really take it in, and I hope it can help you transform your life as well. I love you so much, and let me know the takeaway you got from this. What's your addiction? What's your pain? What's your pleasure?